There's been a lot of talk about the Spider-Verse being sold under Sony and all the movies that they're doing. Obviously, they've been successful with Venom, not so much with Madam Web. We have Craven coming out, but Into the Spider-Verse is their most successful venture outside of the Disney deal that they have where they do the Tom Holland films. When they do it without Disney, Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse are the most successful things. One character that wasn't really in the second film, but was a standout in the first film, was Spider-Man Noir. And a couple months ago, maybe even last year, they announced that Amazon was going to be doing a couple Spider-Verse television shows, Silk's Spider Society, which is still going to be happening, a Spider-Ham animated show, and a Spider-Man Noir show. A lot of people thought this was going to be a show that was going to be, what's the word? It was going to be animated, but apparently it's going to be live action. This is coming from Deadline. It says, do I have this in this, or I have this in the wrong order? Nicolas Cage will once again play Spider-Man Noir, but this time in live action. In a live action series, not a movie, in a series. Cage is set to star in a live action show called Noir, which has been ordered to series by MGM Plus and Amazon Prime Video. The show hails from Oren Uzel, who wrote Escape Room, Cloverfield Paradox, which is like the weakest Cloverfield, and Mortal Kombat 2021, which is a divisive film. Some people love it, some people hate it. And Steve Lightfoot, who I've heard of, he's written on Punisher, the Netflix one, and he's also going to be writing the Daredevil Born Again show for Disney Plus. And he's written Hannibal, which I haven't seen but heard was really, really good. So I guess maybe their balance can make this really, really great. I'm going to talk about why I think that balance is going to be really dope for this particular show when we get into the description of Spider-Man Noir. But it says who will serve as co-showrunners and executive producers. They developed the series with Into the Spider-Verse team Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Amy Pascal, who also produced the Spider-Verse films and directed the first one. Harry Bradbill will executive produce and direct the first two episodes. He's known for Fleabag, Killing Eve, and the Enola Holmes series movies that are on Netflix. I heard great things about Fleabag. Killing Eve is really, really good. So he has some really good directing chops on TV. Obviously, he did Enola Holmes, which is movies, but those are not theatrical films. Those are streaming films. So it's going to be interesting to see how that translates over here. Is this going to feel like Enola Holmes level in terms of cinematography, things like that, and camera level, or is it going to feel a little bit more special? But who is Spider-Man Noir? Obviously, we got a little bit of him in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but we didn't get a whole bunch. We didn't get like a whole bunch of his backstory. Well, I have that here for you. It's a lot, but Spider-Man Noir is a superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics, part of the Marvel Noir universe, which is Earth 90214. I wonder if they're going to use that inside of the show. This alternate version of Spider-Man's noir-themed take on the character emerges in a version of New York during the Great Depression, which is it's going to be a period piece. While investigating a smuggling ring, Peter Parker is bitten by what seems to be a highly venomous spider housed inside of a spider god idol, which is a big part of the Spider-Man lore. Falling unconscious, Peter has a vision of the spider god promising him power. He then awakens inside a cocoon and emerges from it. Now possess superhuman abilities similar to a spider. As the feared vigilante to Spider-Man, Parker wages a one-man war against criminal underworld in New York City, partly to avenge the deaths of Uncle Ben Parker at the hands of a cannibal Adrian Toomes. And Adrian Toomes is usually like the Vulture character, which is really interesting, and his mentor Ben Urich at the hands of city's major crime lord Norman Osborn. Not a Kingpin, but Norman Osborn is like a major crime lord. So that is kind of the basis of what his stories in the comics, which I think sounds like a great television show and a great alternate reality to the Peter Parker Spider-Man we know. Obviously, if Nicolas Cage is going to be playing him, this is going to be an older Spider-Man, a much, much older Spider-Man. I do find this really interesting. Nicolas Cage has been on kind of a renaissance lately. He has talked about how he's on his last legs when it comes to theatrical film. He doesn't really want to keep doing film. He's more interested to dipping into the TV space because there's more creative freedom. There's more long-form storytelling. There's more different types of TV shows that you can do without having to worry about box office and all this stuff. Definitely with limited series. And I think this is going to be his foray, dipping his toes into TV with a character that he's already familiar with, but he's going to be switching over to live action. Not only do I think this is interesting because this is a solid actor who has a range of abilities when it comes to acting, when it comes to comedy, when it comes to serious movies. If you've seen the movie Pig with Nicolas Cage, he can definitely do a revenge style film, even though that film is a little bit different from what you think. A lot of people thought it was going to be like a John Wick film, and it's not. Um, but I really, really think that he could knock it out of the park as Spider-Man Noir live action. It could be really, really, it's going to be really funny, I think, based on the writers. But I think having Stephen Lightfoot on here, based on if they base off the comic with a revenge story, him getting the revenge for his Ben Parker, and he's this scary vigilante that ties into his writing ability with the Punisher. That was what that series was about. Punisher being a vigilante, taking revenge for what happened to his family. And I think that will translate over. I think some of the fun aspects of the film will come from the other writer-director that's going to be doing the show running on this. And then him being an escape room and Cloverfield and kind of having different dynamics that he's able to do in those films. And be like, with Escape Room, that's a franchise now, right? So he's done a good job of creating a franchise, creating a franchise that's not family friendly, but friendly to mainstream audiences. So maybe he might be able to bring that here and have that balance with Lightfoot. So I'm really, really excited for this. I think this could be really, really great. Other details that they had for this is that this is gonna be on TV, surprisingly, on MGM, and then go to Prime Video afterwards. So that is something that's going to be really, really interesting. I forgot the MGM channel was still even on. But as long as it's not on MGM Plus, because I do not have that. Go on Prime Video, please. But yeah, that's the details that we're going to have for the announcement for a Spider-Man Noir television show. I think this is really, really exciting news. I think that this could be really, really fun. I think it was fun to cover this because I don't usually do television show coverage, but because this is spinning off from a movie, I think that's the type of coverage I'm going to do when it comes to shows, things that tie off from movies. So like Knuckle Show and things like that. So I think this is going to be really, really cool with the style and the story if they do all the combinations right and Nicolas Cage can knock it out of the park. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys feel about a Spider-Man Noir show. Are you excited for it? Are you excited for the creative team behind it? And Nicolas Cage being live action Spider-Man Noir, or did you prefer it being animated? Drop those comments down below and let me see what the live chat has to say.